Hello everyone. So as you may or may not be able to tell, I tend to do art a lot, which puts me in that whole sphere, which also means I have become acutely aware of the many times people try to screw people over in the field under the very thin guise of helping them. And I have come very well to expect celebrities and like to partake in such actions. What I didn't foresee was a cryptocurrency resurgence being that next thing. Sorry for the gag, the word crypto has become such a buzzword it makes me sick hearing it over and over again. And if you so much as pressed your face up to a monitor recently, you probably know exactly what I'm going to talk about. NFTs, the new latest trend that everyone is hopping onto, unless if you're one of the people who isn't, which is quite a sizable amount of people. And this new flavor of digital data now comes with the proclaimed promise of being a powerful tool for artists. However, how much it actually fulfills that promise is to be debated. And once you know, that's exactly why I make this video to do. Take a look at something art-centric, which surprisingly isn't as much about artists as you would like to think. Now before I can move on, we first have to go through obligatory explanation time. NFTs, standing for non-fungible tokens, are a new form of cryptocurrency, which allows you to turn images into their own coin, which can be resold and traded. From what I can see, the main idea is it allows you to have a quote-unquote ownership over the quote-unquote original copy of the file. This creates quote-unquote scarcity, and thus value for it to be resold. Maybe I should have removed some of those quotations. Anyways, that explanation is probably very pea-brained and very generalized, but there are people much more knowledgeable in this field that can explain it much better than I can. What I can explain in my very subjective point of view is the promises these make to such commoners as myself and how they barely fulfill them, specifically regarding the art community. So to stop stalling for time, why don't we just get on with the first point, which is
NFTs allow artists to make the money they deserve off their art.
So the first point is probably the most enticing to some, and it's certainly not a mystery why. Every artist wants to be paid adequately for their work. In the end, art is a luxury, and artists shouldn't be exploited as much as they are. And yes, NFTs can give another way for people to sell their art, but the whole point hinges on the idea that someone actually buys it. This doesn't guarantee at all that artists get the money they need. In fact, the people most likely to benefit from this are people who are already well known, so the artists who are unable to get the payment they deserve in the first place aren't even guaranteed to get it with NFTs. The problem becomes compounded with the somehow shocking revelation to some that minting the thing actually costs money. So you're asking artists to sink money they might not have, into something that's not even guaranteed to give them a profit. And I certainly know with art, money isn't all that there is, but with NFTs, money is what it's all about. And this is in comparison to an already existing system, commissions, which is free for the artist, doesn't require you to engage with the crypto world at all, and you only have to draw a piece when you've received the payment. And this system also benefits the buyer, since they get a personalized piece of art personalized to them. Yes, you don't have quote-unquote ownership over the original file, and you can't resell it. But if that's a deal breaker, then how is this about the artist? This seems less about the people who make the art, and more about the people who sell to someone else. To counter this point, some NFT bros, as they're called, may propose something along the lines of this.
Artists can be commissioned to draw NFTs.
This argument kind of feels like someone threw a chocolate bar into toilet water and is now saying that makes the toilet water better. It really does not. The toilet water is still toilet water, and the chocolate bar is now flowing in toilet water. Yes, you can commission someone to make an NFT for you, which does eliminate the uncertainty of selling it. Kind of. But then we get back to the main issue, which is that this doesn't really benefit artists as much as it benefits the guy reselling it. And I have to ask, how would such a system work? Is it a one-and-done thing where the artist gets paid once and then never sees profit from that piece again? Maybe you could pay the original artist royalties, but how far does that extend? Is it only the commissioner that has to pay royalty, or is it everyone that does sell it? If it's the former, then we still have the same issue, where the artist makes something that they won't see profits from. And if it's the latter, then I guarantee you, the very same people will be adverse to it since it cuts down on their profit margins. It's honestly quite bizarre to me how people try to advertise this as a tool for artists, but at the same time it really only benefits the buyers. But hey, we still do have a few more points left, maybe something big will come over that changes my mind.
NFTs can prevent art theft.
So one of the so-called perks of NFTs is that they're entirely hinged on the idea that the token being sold is the original file, meaning that even if copies are resold, they'll be worth less because they aren't the original, plus copyright issues. However, this all implies that all art exists within the NFT bubble, which it does not. In fact, a large majority of art seems to be 30 meters away from said bubble. What does that mean exactly? Well, you see, the whole thing with original files is kind of inaccurate. A more accurate way of putting it is original file to be minted. I say this because paradoxically, NFTs are plagued with rampant art theft. If art isn't already minted, some may wake up one day to find that someone else has and is making profit that the artist will never see. Hey, this feels familiar. To counter that, most people in support of NFTs will simply counter, just mint them before people steal them. And at that point, I have to say it sounds less like you're offering salvation to artists and more so holding a gun to them and threatening to shoot if they don't use your service. And quick question, how does this apply to a large majority of the population across time who are currently not alive? I swear to God, I'll see people minting NFTs in the honor of deceased people, sometimes even stealing other people's assets in the process, and I have to wonder, where are those profits going? I can take a good shot in the dark and say they're probably not going to the person whose image is being used, nor their family. And that's not accounting for collections that straight up stomp on the memory of dead people. You seriously can't tell me what's on screen right now isn't atrocious on the part of the people who made this. And I can keep going on about the increasing amount of scum going down this rabbit hole, but if I did, I'd risk drowning in it. So all the reasons for me to give a fuck about this trend only really exist to benefit NFTs themselves or the buyers. Please, genuinely, give me one reason this can benefit the art community.
NFTs can give you ownership over characters.
That is literally just adoptables. Adoptables already do that.
NFTs can introduce digital scarcity.
How did scarcity benefit the artist selling it in the first place? It seems like digital scarcity only benefits artists if they intend on selling their work through NFTs in the first place. With something like commissions, let me introduce you to a shocker. They are already scarce because they don't even exist yet. This main benefit, yet again, only serves to make those who resell it a profit, and that doesn't sound like it's benefiting the artist much now, does it? Seriously, I feel like people gave up trying to hide the very apparent greed with this point. Great, my art is going to be used as a certificate that says someone has more money to throw around than others. People find billionaires who spend their money on stupid shit in real life annoying. Do we seriously want them to be in the digital world now? I seriously cannot understand why this is being partially marketed as being the saving grace for artists. The only benefits it presents either look like Swiss cheese or don't have any point outside the NFT bubble. Have artists made profits off of NFTs? Yes. Does that mean NFTs are good for artists in the long run? No. This whole "for the artists" mask feels extremely ingenuine, like whoever's pitching it is offering artists the pay they deserve, while also pulling the money bag back going, but not too much of it. And that is not even getting into the types of people who will steal art from artists to mint as NFTs for the sole reason that the artist is opposed to them. How can a community say they're for artists, but at the same time willingly screw them over when they feel like it? It doesn't feel like NFTs cut the strings from artists, it just feels like it transfers the strings from some guy in a business suit to some guy in a stained tank top. It's actually kind of depressing. Artists can be considered a very integral part of any culture they're in, but they so often get screwed over by the same people who say their mission is to help. So from the mouth of an artist, how do you actually help out artists? Well, the answer is simple. Just give them the money they deserve, no strings attached, commission them, or hell, if you just like their regular work, donate to them. It really is that simple. If you care so much about artists, then stop going, but stop stabbing them in the back when they disagree with your convoluted and broken system. And the saddest part about all this is, I'm pretty sure I'm screaming into a void. Someone will probably just ignore these points or even steal my own art out of spite. Because the fact of the matter is, NFTs are not about the artist.